Welcome to another episode of Eberhart Outdoors, and basically what I'm wearing right now is it's a Badlands day pack. It's at least 20 years old. It's what I use for scouting. This thing has been so durable. All the stitch points on this old Badlands pack, they're stitched, all the stress points are stitched with Kevlar. They go to a second stitch point. This thing is indestructible, and at some point in time I will show you the holes in the bottom of it from steps, and it still hasn't ripped out. And it has a lifetime warranty, so when it does, I can send it in and they'll send me a brand new one. You can tell how long I've had it because the clips broke. And one thing when you're wearing a backpack for location preparation, because typically what I will do is I'll scout without a backpack, obviously, and then once I pick my locations, you know, I mark them, waypoint them on my Onyx or whatever, GPS, whatever, and then when I go back with my location preparation tools, which is what this is, as well as I would also carry an extension saw if I'm on private property. So you want to have something that's going to be very comfortable and has a lot of padding. And if you can zoom in here a little bit, these are very cushiony, a lot of padding. Badlands makes really excellent packs. Even the shoulder straps, very well padded. So you want to make sure you have something with padded shoulder straps and a padded waist strap. Because when you're wearing something with a lot of weight in it on a backpack, you're actually supposed to tighten it up so that it's not actually touching the top of your shoulders. There's supposed to be about 1/4 of an inch gap on the top of the shoulders so it doesn't push down on your shoulders, the top of your shoulder muscles. So this one here is it's actually very similar to my hunting pack because it also has the same pocket design. It's got 2 side pockets, and it has a front pocket and it has a main pocket. And the 2 side pockets are kind of interesting because they actually have zippered pockets, but they also have places where you can put water. So I always have 2 jugs of water because you always, when you're prepping locations, you always get hot. I typically carry two what I call camp saws. This one here is a Corona. Because a lot of times when I'm going out, have somebody else with me, and I'll let them use one of my saws because usually they always have those cheap little folding hand saws with a 7-inch blade, and you can't cut very fast with those. So I'll have a camp saw by Corona, and it has, I think, a 13-inch blade, so it has a real long cutting stroke. And then this is the bad guy right here. This is made by Silky, and that has a 17-inch blade, very aggressive teeth. $90 for this puppy. That one there's 25 bucks. You can buy those at Hardware's. The only place you can buy this is at like steel chainsaw shops or else online. And this thing cuts dang near as fast as a chainsaw. I can cut a 2-inch branch with this with one swipe. I also carry a Corona hand saw, folding saw, but as you can see, this one's considerably longer. A typical folding saw is going to have a blade about that long right there. It's going to be about 7 inches. This one's 10. So it has a lot longer cutting stroke. And when you're cutting branches and, you know, on private property, obviously, the longer the stroke, the easier the job is. So those little short hand saws, I never carry those. That's what they sell in all sporting goods stores, but I never carry those. They're just too slow. I also carry a East Wing, however you want to pronounce it, hatchet. And these are about 50 bucks, $40 to $50. And it also has a hammer on one side. So if I'm prepping a tree with a cordless drill and I'm actually putting in spikes, you know, I'll drill a hole, tap them in a little bit, push them in maybe that far, and then I'll tap them in, hit them in the rest of the way with this, because they don't just slide in the hole. You got to tap them into the hole. And then I also use the hatchet for cutting loose bark on rough bark trees around the steps. You know, if I'm going into preset a location, I'll trim the bark before I put the step in, so that as I'm climbing up a tree, especially if it's close to where a deer might be bedded, as I'm climbing up the tree, my boots, the part of my boot when I step on a step that's going to actually physically touch the tree, if there's any loose bark, I don't want it making that noise and knocking that bark off. So I'll either skin the rough bark with this, or else I would possibly skin the rough bark with the saw. But the hatchet is a little bit faster on thicker bark trees because it just works faster. I'm going to show you what this is later. I also carry a couple pieces of conduit. These are basically aiders for screwing in folding steps. Folding steps because the threads are in line with the shaft, the side of the step. You start them, and then basically you put this over the step, turn the step upwards, and then you can screw them in really fast or take them out really fast. Then inside there's also a zippered pocket, and in that zippered pocket I carry drill bits, and these are those Irwin speed bores, speed bits, and these are basically when I'm going to put spikes in the tree, which I buy by the 50-pound boxes. I'll drill the hole, and as soon as you start these, as soon as you get them started, there's little, I actually did a video on these, but you can see the little threads on the end. So as soon as you get this started, you don't have to put any pressure on it. It just self-taps. It just keeps going at its own rate. All you got to do is hold on to the drill and let it do its thing. And that's a 3/8. Okay, so right now I like to keep my steps about knee high. I don't know what that height is. So right now we're going to have a step here. Next step goes in here. Watch how easy this goes in. I am putting no pressure on that whatsoever. It is going in totally 100 by itself. 100% by itself. So that's 3. So I got 4, you can put 4 steps in without having to hook to the tree yet. And to put the step in, you just start it in the hole. Hardest thing's finding your holes. Obviously, I was never a roofer. Now, once you put these in, they're there forever. So, keep that in mind. After you hunt about 6 to 8 years, this tree will grow out into here, and then you have to put another step next to it. But these steps, you're not going to pull them out. It's not like some of those drills where you can drill a hole, just slide it in by hand, and then pull it out when you come back down. This bit is a little bit tighter. I always carry a compass. Now typically when I'm scouting or prepping locations, I'll have my cell phone, so I've got my Onyx and stuff with me, but for some odd reason I just always like having a compass with me. And for prepping locations, I carry a lot of bow holders. I've probably got 20 of them in here. And I always carry a Cranford bow and gun holder. This thing is just bad. I mean, when I say bad, I mean bad good. It does not have painted threads. It's got very pointed threads, and it screws in any tree, super simple. It's got hardened steel also. You buy these bow holders like this, they're 99 cents at any sporting goods store in the fall or by the front register. And I buy these by the 50-pound boxes, but I always put a pilot hole in with these Cranfords. I only have to have one of these. I put the pilot hole in with the Cranford, and then I put these in into that pilot hole. I'll screw these into the hole once it's already tapped, because these bend really easy if you're going in a locust tree or you're going in an oak tree, something that's really hard, ironwood. These bend really, really easy. And I actually like them because they bend, actually. Because once I got a pilot hole, they go in really easy. And then if it's like on my bowl holder, which is going to be 120 degrees off to my right, on my bowl holder, which is going to be 120 degrees off to my right, I will, once I screw it in straight, if it's something I'm going to leave there permanently, I'll actually take this and bend it upward. And it's super simple because this is really soft steel. I'll bend it up so this is going to be up like that. So it's going to be in that position for a lot of years, and you know, the strap on the top of my hunting backpack just slides over that and lays down in that corner. So I carry quite a few of those. In one of these exterior pockets, the zip pocket, I carry a watch. There's a watch in there. In the front pocket, I carry some snips. These are Florian snips. These are ratchet snips. So basically when you're cutting a tree, this will go in like, this will cut like 3/8 of an inch at a time, and then boom, this little branch will snap off. A lot of companies make these. They all work exactly the same. So this brand's no better than any other. I always have a pair of leather gloves. These here look like they kind of need to be replaced. They got a lot of holes in them, but they still work for prepping locations. That's all that matters. Carry lots of tacks. I use lots of tacks. Now these are all white tacks and orange tacks, and there's more tacks, and there's some more tacks, and there's some more tacks. I prep a lot of locations, and if I'm on a place where I can get away with using white tacks, I use white tacks because you can see the reflection from a farther distance. And I don't like to take one step off my entry or my exit route when I'm going in or coming out of a tree of the location. So I use a lot of tacks, and if I'm going to make a turn, the reason I carry the orange tacks, if I'm on an entry route and I need to make a 45-degree turn, where at the tack where I need to make the turn, I'll put an orange tack above it in the direction that I need to make that turn. So it'll be 45 degrees above it and to the right. So when I hit that tack, I know I got to make that angle of a turn to fit my next tack, white tack. So that works pretty good. And I also have a lot of green tacks. I don't think I have any here. Ameristep used to make a green tack, and they quit making them, and I bought them on a closeout. I've probably got 30 or 40 packages of them. And green tacks are awesome on public land, because if you use white tacks on public land, people can see them. Green tacks, you put a green tack in a tree, it blends so well into the tree. Unless somebody's physically stopping and looking at that tree, they're not going to see that green tack. And when we do the video on tacks and reflective ties and flashlights, I'll show you exactly what I mean as far as the green versus the white versus the orange. HME also used to make a brown reflective tack. I don't know if they do anymore, but that even blends in better to the tree than the green. But the green is plenty fine. You would have to physically search for the green tacks to see them. The white tacks, they stick out pretty easy. So I don't use a lot of white tacks on public land, just on private. But I have lots of green tacks. And then obviously for prepping a location, I carry a rope. This here's just the, when I did my backpack, my hunting backpack, I had a 3/8 diameter rope, so it wouldn't get tangled. But if I'm prepping a location, this is a rope I'm going to leave in the tree. So I'm going to straighten it out. I've got all the time in the world. I'm not hunting. I straighten it out, and I'll drape it down to the ground, and then I'll attach it to the tree at the base of the tree somehow. So I don't need that really bigger diameter rope for that. And then this here is what I use for going up and down the tree. And I made this quite a few years ago. And I've made some alterations to it, like I do with everything. This here strap is an old trophy line lead rope. And as you can see, it's got the old trophy line buckle. And I actually ground off there used to be a V here. There was a V up here that you hook to. So I ground that off. And this is 9,600 pound strap. So it's a 9,600 pound belt. And then I bought some just steel D-rings, and I sewed them on into the strap. and I bought some utility, or I don't know what you'd call it, carpenter's belts. Actually, these are the same thing you can buy in a hardware store. I think it's the exact same brand because they're brown and gold. But this here is an old Safety Hunter System harness for prepping trees. And it came, I had one of my accounts give it to me. It was $100. And it had shoulder straps. It had X straps coming around here. It had stuff under your legs. You know, it had to pass the TMA 5-point hitch deal. And I was like, well, I'm going to cut some of this stuff off. Well, when I ended up, all I had was 2 pouches. I cut everything else off. So, and then I basically, you know, attached these pouches to that old trophy line belt. And on the one, just like with a saddle with a lineman belt, on the D-ring over here on the side, I've got my rope. So it's just a 1/2-inch nylon rope. Got a rope man from Tethered. Works exactly the same as it does on the saddle. You just throw this rope around the tree, hook this carabiner to the D-ring on the other side, and then you adjust it as needed for the diameter of the tree. So you can climb the tree and put stuff in with both hands free. Again, I made this. I don't sell this. This would never, ever pass the safety standards because it has to have leg straps underneath it, so it wouldn't pass that. But basically all it is it's 2 big pouches on each side, and these pouches are big enough I can put spikes in them, I can put steps in them, plenty of steps. I can put 15 steps in each one of these pouches. And it also is, it's got little inner pouches on the side of the big ones, and that's where I can put in my, you know, bow and gun holders up at the top. So this has been a bad little unit. It also is kind of cool because when I'm wearing my hatchet, you know, for trimming bark, it slides right into one of those loops on the side. So whenever I need that, I just pull it up. Typically when I'm scraping bark, I don't do it like this. I just take the hatchet and hold it like this, and just doesn't take a lot if your hatchet is sharp, just to chop off some loose bark. And I will also have, you know, I'll also put my handsaw in the pouch too. So I've got a saw, I've got a hatchet, all the steps, all the spikes, whatever I need. And I got both hands free to go up and down the tree. And again, I hope nobody makes this because this would not pass safety in any of the safety standards. So there's no way you'd get liability insurance on it. But if somebody wanted to self-make one for themselves and they're not concerned about that, that's what I've used for a lot of years. Probably shouldn't even be showing this, but there it is. Anyway, that's it. Typically back in the swamps, I'm wearing hip boots, or, you know, waders even sometimes, but always wearing rubber boots, and got to sludge through that stuff. Also wanted to show you bear with me a moment. I'm going to actually, you can see all the holes in there. That's from steps and the hatchets, and I've had this pack for 20 years. There's holes on the bottom from steps. Well, that actually is the bottom right there. You can see all these holes. There's my thumb. This is made out of saddle cloth. Badland makes awesome packs. I don't like them for hunting. I think they're too stiff. I think they're too noisy. But as far as a pack for doing this kind of stuff, I've had that 20 years. There isn't another pack out there that would have lasted 20 years the way I use it. No way. With steps and stuff and sharp threads in the bottom, hatchets, no way. So anyway, that's what I carry when I'm actually going in to prep a tree, other than also an extension saw if I'm on private property. Thanks for watching. I hope you took something away from that. Thanks for watching another episode of Eberhart Outdoors, and please like and subscribe.